Travers.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Go for Wand gets clear by a length and a half again, and Charon is second. Go for Wand continues to lead. Charon remains within a length. And those two approach the top of the stretch. They have opened a dozen lengths on Pampered Star. The mile and 36 flat. Go for Wand gets clear by two. Charon under the whip is second. They pass the eighth hole. Go for Wand now in front by about 4 lengths. Charon is second. Pampered Star has been eased. Go for Wand in front.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Down the Stretch. I'm Mark Asano. On this morning's show, we'll briefly look back at a number of stakes from the week past. Then we'll look ahead to the upcoming 7 days and the stake schedule here at the Spa. We've got a programming note for you concerning next Saturday's Travers Day edition, and we will welcome in a trio of special guests, including a couple of Chads. We'll begin with Mr. Chad Summers, whose Mind Your Biscuits is now pointing, we think, for next Saturday's Forgo. He will be followed by Mr. Brendan Walsh, who looks for 2 in a row this afternoon with Proctor's Ledge in the grassy Lake Placid. And finally, Mr. Chad Brown. He's coming off a historic last Saturday in Chicago. This afternoon, he runs New Money Honey in the Alabama in her first ever start on dirt. And we will also find out if Cloud Computing will be contesting the Travers. So all of that and much, much more if you stay with us for this, our August 19th edition of the program, which is being sponsored by Pinnell's Restaurant, celebrating 95 years in business, 284 Jefferson Street, just a drive and a 7-iron from where we are in Saratoga. And our guest segments are being sponsored by Jacob and Anthony's American Grill at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. Good morning once again. Welcome to the show on an absolutely gorgeous summer Saturday in Saratoga, Alabama day. In the open, you watched a piece of the great Go for Wand's victory in the 1990 Alabama, which I believe came just 8 days after she had run 1:21 minutes in winning the test. An absolutely phenomenal filly. 3 more Alabamas of the past going to the internal breaks. But we begin with, on a sad note, retired trainer David Whiteley died recently at the age of 73. The son of legendary trainer Frank Whiteley, David was probably best known as the trainer of Coastal, who upset Spectacular Bid in the 1979 Belmont Stakes. But David trained 3 champions, Weah, Revedeer, and Just a Game. David Whiteley has been a finalist for the Hall of Fame 2 or 3 times. Our condolences to his family and friends. All right, a quick recap of some of the stakes action from the week past. Pure Silver, breaking from the inside post, made easy work of the Adirondack Stakes, winning wire-to-wire by 9.5 for Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. The New York-bred filly is now 3 for 3. And Copper Bullet sat a beautiful trip from the outside post as he scored a handy 4-length win in the Saratoga Special for Steve Asmussen and Erod Ortiz Jr. The Iroquois at Churchill may be next for Copper Bullet. World Approval cut back in distance and captured the 4-star day for Mark Cassie and Manny Franco. Now, the turf last Saturday came up yielding, but middle distances look to be kind of right up his alley. And that win really helped an otherwise very, very slow meet for the Cassies. At Arlington Park, Oscar performance for Brian Lynch and Jose Ortiz won the Secretariat by a handy 2 1/4 lengths for his third straight stakes score. And, as I mentioned, Chad Brown had a historic day as he captured the Arlington Million with Beach Patrol and the Beverly D with Decita. Chad became the first trainer ever to win both the Million and the Beverly D in the same year, and we'll talk with him about that a bit later on in the program. All right, there's a brief look at some of the stakes over the week past. Now let's take a look ahead to the next 7 days of stakes action here at the Spa, beginning this afternoon with a stakes doubleheader for 3-year-old fillies, the Alabama and the Lake Placid. Of course, out at Del Mar in Southern California this afternoon, Arrowgate tries to bounce back from an incredibly poor effort in the San Diego as he goes in the Pacific Classic. His trainer Bob Baffert has declared him ready. Tomorrow, Summer Colony on Monday, the Evan Shipman. Next Wednesday, the John's Call. The Risk-Averse is the headliner on Thursday. Next Friday is New York Bred Showcase Day. 6 New York Bred stakes, and then next Saturday, Travers Day. The Travers, of course, headlines the card, which also features the Personal Ensign. How about Songbird, the Forgo? And we're going to find out if Mind Your Biscuits is going there. The Alan Jerkins for 3-year-old sprinters, the Ballerina, the Sword Dancer, and the Ballston Spa. All of that coming up next Saturday. Now, 2 weeks from today is the Woodward, and Shaman Ghost, who was scheduled to go in the Woodward, will miss that race. He will undergo throat surgery to correct a breathing problem. When Shaman Ghost races again, or if he races again, is unknown at this time. And very quickly, a hard-hitting grass horse, the Pizza Man, who had gone off form, has been retired at the age of 8. Now, next Saturday, Travers Day, an early post time here at Saratoga. So that means Down the Stretch will air a bit earlier next week. The Travers Day edition of Down the Stretch, Saturday, August 26th, will begin 1 hour earlier. We will begin at 9 a.m. And we are up to our first break on this Alabama Day edition of Down the Stretch. Thank you so much for having joined us. When we return, Mr. Chad Summers will join us as we go to this break. The Alabama from 24 years ago. So we will take a look at the 1993 Alabama to the break. Back with Chad Summers right after these messages.
And they're off in the Alabama. And Robin Platt sends Deputy Jane West right out after the lead. Miss Obsession is also running eagerly toward the inside. Sky Beauty came out well. As they move by us for the first time, it's Miss Obsession, and she is moving with early fervor as they move into the first turn. On the outside, Deputy Jane West is right there in behind these lively early fractions. Sky Beauty has settled off the lead on the outside, now running in third. Fortunate Faith has been taken to the inside fourth. Silky Feathers settles in fifth now, and Jacody lingering near the back of the pack in the early going, already 10 lengths from the lead. And then the French filly, Tricky Princess, and Future Pretense is the trailer. They're heading into the backstretch. Miss Obsession and Deputy Jane West have dueled through an opening quarter of 23 1/5 seconds. And 5 lengths back to an unhurried Mike Smith with Sky Beauty. They're settling nicely in third position now. Fortunate Faith is tracking Sky Beauty up the backstretch, and they're followed by Silky Feather, who's fifth. Jacody is called on for a bit more run now. She's being coaxed along, and still at the back are Tricky Princess and Future Pretense, the trailer. They've run a half here in 46 4/5 seconds. Miss Obsession and Deputy Jane West have been together from the beginning, and Sky Beauty remains 4 lengths from the lead with the half mile to run. Fortunate Faith down to her inside, and then Silky Feather, and they're rounding the far turn. Deputy Jane West and Miss Obsession, and now there goes Sky Beauty. And Sky Beauty is streaking toward the lead as they move around the far turn. Silky Feather is just off her. It's Deputy Jane West by a head. Sky Beauty right there and confronts her as they move toward the top of the stretch. Silky Feather just off the lead, and Fortunate Faith in with a very good chance right in behind the lead as the field turns for home. Deputy Jane West here in a tangle with Sky Beauty, and the rail is opened up for Fortunate Faith as they come to the 8th pole. Deputy Jane West running a brave race today. Sky Beauty is brave as well, and she's in front. It is Sky Beauty, but here comes Future Pretense closing hard, and Silky Feather is there, and Fortunate Faith, and Sky Beauty is the leader, with Future Pretense, and Sky Beauty wins the Alabama by a length and a half, and a jubilant Mike Smith. Future Pretense was second, and Silky Feather was third.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook and get in the game. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, fantastic food and drinks, an amazing Vegas-style atmosphere with seating for nearly 900 of your closest friends. Conveniently located at 711 Central Avenue, right off Exit 5 of I-90 in Albany, the Clubhouse Racebook is the better choice.
Nighttime thoroughbred racing is back at Capital OTB. Now through Labor Day, Capital OTB will be accepting wagers on nighttime thoroughbred racing from across the country, featuring evening racing from Delmar and Woodbine, and now it's even easier to be part of the action. Simply log on to CapitalOTBBet.com on all your digital devices, or use our newly designed mobile app. So even when the sun goes down, thoroughbred racing continues at CapitalOTBBet.com. Log on today.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano, and Sky Beauty for the late, great Alan Jerkins. That was the second Alabama in a row for Mr. Jerkins. First of 3 in a row for Mike Smith. She edged away to win the 1993 Alabama. First guest this morning has one of the finest sprinters in the land in Mind Your Biscuits, who apparently will now go next Saturday right here at the Spa in the Forgo. We are very pleased to welcome back to Down the Stretch Mr. Chad Summers. Chad, good to see you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Welcome back to the show.
Tough to come in here on top of Alan Jerkins and Mike Smith. But what's that?
That's not too shabby. I've interviewed so many guests over the years, and most of the time they come on and they say their horses thrive when they arrive at Saratoga.
Sure.
But that wasn't exactly the case for Mind Your Biscuits, was it?
Well, it's a situation of your environment. I mean, this is his third summer being here. He was here as a 2-year-old, and he ran 2 good seconds, and he was over in the, first we started in Oklahoma track, then we ended up in Mark Cassie's barn. Then last year we came here. We were actually right next to the starting gate on Oklahoma. He loved that. He watched horses train all morning. But this year we got a different barn, and it's a little bit of a contiguous position over here. You got the horseshoe bar, and you got the music playing until 2 o'clock in the morning.
You're right here on Nelson Avenue.
Yeah, and he's more of a rap fan than those oldies, those 70s and 80s music.
Well, wait a minute.
So, it wasn't really vibing well with him. And, we saw it from early on, and it was one of those things where you pay attention to your horse, and, I've had him since he was a yearling, been with him.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where he's just not right. And it's little things that pick up. He's still training well. Even that breeze he had last week was in 1 minute and 2 fifths. He came home in 23 seconds. Anybody else would be taking it.
And you didn't like it?
I hated it.
Explain to the audience why. It was the third fastest work at that distance of the morning, and you hated it.
So it's knowing the horse. It's how he does things. Normally things for him are effortless, and Joel had to ask him a little bit down the lane. On the gallop out, once he caught the other horse, he thought his work was done. And for him, he's a horse that loves what he does, and he just wasn't into it. Wasn't sick. We pulled blood on him. Everything was normal. He just wasn't himself. So we moved his barn, and it's been 8 days now, and he's thriving back in his new barn.
So you've seen a dramatic difference in him in that 7 or 8 day period.
Yeah, everybody. Even Joel, who Rosario, his jockey, that's been on him 100 times, that wasn't on him since the work last Friday.
Right.
When he was on him yesterday, he's like, it's a different horse.
Okay. Now, the work yesterday was at Oklahoma and not the main track. Why?
Combination of a few things. The way that the track was done, the main track had been sealed the night before and was back raked. It was hard. We walked the track that morning, 5 o'clock in the morning. That track was hard. The Oklahoma track at the time was Howard, it was fluffy, it was nice, and we were trying to beat the rain.
Okay.
You know, there was rain coming, and look, it poured down rain 4 days when we were in Dubai, so for it to be raining in Saratoga doesn't surprise us. As soon as we gave Joel a leg up, it started drizzling. By the time we hit the track, it was pouring, and then by the time we were walking home, it was a torrential downpour. 10 minutes later, it stopped raining and the sun came out again, but that's what happened.
Welcome to Saratoga. So a couple of days ago, when we asked you to come on the show, you told our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, it was likely to be either the Forgo or a race at Laurel, which surprised me a lot because I thought you might, if you skipped here, you might go out to Del Mar. You're definite for the Forgo next Saturday.
Yeah, as of right now. I mean, obviously, with horse racing and horses, you never know what's going to happen,
Right.
If entries were today, we'd be in the Forgo.
Okay, so the reason for that is you've seen the dramatic improvement.
Correct.
From him.
He's a horse that, you know, we feel is the best sprinter in the world. I mean, we think we proved that in Dubai and what he's done since then, the Belmont Sprint Championship. So we think there's a lot on the line. You know, we're trying to win the Eclipse Award for Champion Sprinter, and he's worth a ton to us, and we wouldn't take a chance running him if we didn't think that he had a chance to win this race next Saturday.
Well, we're about to take a look at his last two starts, and we'll begin by going back to Dubai. Mind Your Biscuits, number 14 from the extreme outside post. This was, I believe, your first official victory as a trainer.
Yeah.
And as I said, you know, when you win your first race, it may as well be for $2 million.
That's what I thought. You know, there's no reason to do it any other way.
That's a good place to start.
It's one of those things where it's like a fairy tale. It's a dream come true, and a lot of trainers sit there and say, you know, it's all downhill from here, and it probably is. I probably should have just dropped the mic and dropped the trophy and walked off after this win. But you know, he's a special horse, and you're watching this race here. He's 6 wide throughout the race. It poured down rain. It was lightning and thundering, and no horse had ever won in Dubai in a sprint race from further than the 10-hole, and only once was it from the 10-hole. In any prep race, the Dubai World Cup, anything. So they had said it was a kiss of death when we got the 14. Yes. But we had a lot of confidence in our horse. Joel has a lot of confidence in our horse. And you see here, it's as soon as Joel asks him, and he's going to just start picking it up here down the lane, it's good night, Irene. He's just such a special horse. Joel actually never even touches him with the stick here. This is all just a hand ride. And these are some of the best horses in the world. Kamikaze over there. Muarib was in there last year, St. Joe Bay. So there's some nice horses in there, and he just kind of wins easily. And, you know, we carried 133 pounds in that race as well. So we got a little bit of a weight break coming back to the States
Yeah, that's
now.
right. The Gulfstream Sprint Championship, which was the race before this, you didn't win it. Jimmy Jerkins beat you that day. But I said to the audience the next week when we looked at the Gulfstream Sprint, that was the perfect prep. It appeared to turn out that way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, look, you want to win every time you leave one over. You don't ever sitting there, oh, we don't want to win. But you're 4 weeks out from the Dubai. It's a $2 million race. You want to get everything you can out of it and keep them clean. And that was the thing. We have all the respect in the world for Jimmy Jerkins and Unified, and we saw how he was training in Palm Meadows. We're not going to sit there and change our running style over there. So we're going to run our race and get ready for Dubai. And he came closing late, just got beat by the neck, and you know, 2 more jumps he wins. Similar kind of the Breeders' Cup last year. I think another 5 paces, and he might beat Trifong last year in the Breeders' Cup. Hopefully we'll have a chance to find out this Saturday.
Now, the last start for Mind Your Biscuits was the Belmont Sprint Championship. We're about to take a look at it. He is number 2. Now, this is 7/8.
Yes.
And for most sprinters, there's a dramatic difference between 3/4 and 7/8, particularly for a closing sprinter at 3/4. But your horse is so good that stretching out, he can lay closer to the pace and still kick in. That's not the case for a lot of sprinters.
No, we think he's really special. And you know, talking to Ron Anderson, Joel Rosario's agent, obviously he's been around some of the great horses like that in the past. They're all throwbacks that are able to sprint and possibly go 2 turns. We haven't done it because he's so good at what he does. But we do think that he can stretch out, and this isn't like a run happy situation or something like that. Like, I mean, he's relaxes so well. Even here, you see he's tracking in 4th. He's come from last. You know, and this was a little bit of a strategy change. Actually, in the post parade, we saw Jose Ortiz stay with the pony on Unified and not warm up away from pony, kind of loosen him up. Looked like he was going to take back. Green Grotto might be low on speed. So, you know, me and Joel had talked earlier in the day, and we decided to lay closer here, and he's just making the lead on his own. You know, he's not being asked. He's just such a horse that loves what he does. He overtakes him, and for a second, when you hear the call, Larry Comas gets excited that Awesome Slew's coming from behind from Marcassi. Yeah. We'll see him again on the forego, but as soon as Joel looks at him, he hits the horse one time, the horse just kind of takes off again, and he's just really a special horse. I mean, Awesome Slew's a talented horse, grade 2 winner in his own right, and they say he's better going 7/8 a mile, and so for us to put him away was pretty impressive, I thought.
Mind Your Biscuits has won at 6, 6.5, and 7. Is there a distance you feel is his best or you're most comfortable with running him at?
Well, I mean, he's won the Malibu going 7/8, and that might have been his best race that he won. The horse he beat that day, Sharp Azteca, I think, is one of the top 5 horses in the country. So, obviously, 7 is our comfort zone. I think he might be best going a mile, maybe a little bit further, but we'll find that out down the road.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Breeders' Cup Sprint is 3/4. The Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is, somewhere close to a mile. Which race are you pointing for?
Pointing for is a key word. Obviously, look, we're invited to the Breeders' Cup Sprint right now, winning the Belmont Sprint Invitational. Saturday, the winner of the forego gets an invitation to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and we'll keep all options open going through to the Breeders' Cup.
But is it going to matter in the end? Because let's face it, all else being equal, it's easier to win a sprint championship by running in and possibly winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint than it is the Dirt Mile. You're not going to win Older Male. You're just not going to do that. It's not going to happen. So Dre Thong is likely to go forego Breeders' Cup Sprint. You guys want to win a championship. Is that going to affect your plans?
No. I mean, we think, obviously we'll see what happens with the forego and where he goes from there. We're not afraid to run our horse again, depending how he bounces out of the race. He's a horse that doesn't need all this time off in between his starts like some of these other horses. So there's a lot of options you can look at. And, our thing that we would love to do is we'd love to win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. Love Georgie Navarro and Sharp Azteca to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, and then square off with them in the Cigar Mile on December 3rd and decide the championship there.
Okay. How many do you have here at Saratoga? How's your meet going?
It's going all right. You got 26 babies here, so it's a lot of
wow, that's a lot of babies.
Taking our time and having them come along. And the first 2-year-old we ran tried to bolt, so that wasn't a good start to get the 2-year-olds underway, right? And one we were really excited about running the day before sale season starts, but that kind of, like horse racing, that kind of stuff happens. So
that's right.
We got some really, really special babies coming along. I mean, just blessed to have a great staff and great owners with us, and really excited for what the future holds, the end of Saratoga and also moving on to the fall of Belmont.
And you've got one of our old friends here on the network, Jimmy Corns, helping you out this summer in Saratoga.
Prepping us. Good PR guy. Good PR guy, right?
Well, listen, all congratulations on all of the successes with Mind Your Biscuits. He really is something special. Good luck next Saturday. We expect here in the forego. And good luck down the road. I know we'll be back in touch with you as we near the Breeders' Cup to find out what's going on. And we want to say thank you for coming over this morning by giving you this $100 gift certificate to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill. It's at 38 High Rock Avenue, downtown Saratoga. They're open every day at 11:30 for lunch, then dinner later on. So take that on us. It's a nice place to go, and even a nicer place to celebrate a victory.
Speaking of which, when we won the Amsterdam last year, we ended up at Jacob and Anthony's, and maybe we'll end up there next Saturday.
There you go. Let's hope so.
Mark, thank you so much.
Good luck. Chad Summers, ladies and gentlemen. We are up to our next break. When we return, Mr. Brendan Walsh will join us as we go to this break, the 2010 Alabama. Now, Jerry Hollendorfer is here today for the Alabama with It 'Tis Well. He was also here 7 years ago. So we're about to take a look at the 2010 Alabama. Back with Brendan Walsh right after these messages.
And they're off in the Alabama. Acting Happy breaks well. Devil May Care is also right there, followed by 'Tis a Hit. Connie and Michael was off a beat slowly, but is right up there with the Vanguard. Over to the inside, Have to Grace, and Blind Luck at the back. So they make their way for the Clubhouse turn here. Acting Happy a couple paths off the rail. 'Tis a Hit right alongside. Connie and Michael wide into that turn. And then the Devil May Care, Johnny Velasquez has her covered up and in behind horses. She's riding comfortably early on. And then Have to Grace toward the inside. Blind Luck, typically, she is last in the early stages of the race. So they're making their way into the backstretch run here. And Acting Happy leads the Alabama field down the backstretch run. Tis a Hit alongside Sitting Chilly second. Connie and Michael is third. And then it's Have to Grace running fourth. And this pace is a crawl. 49 and 2/5 seconds was the opening half mile. Devil May Care has only one horse beaten, and that is stretch running Blind Luck. So the field continues down the backstretch run. Acting Happy leads this leisurely field. Tis a Hit alongside second. Connie and Michael remains third. Their positions have not changed since the start. 3/4 up in a tepid 1:14 and 4. Around the far turn now. Acting Happy, Tis a Hit, still head-to-head for the lead. And there goes Devil May Care, rocketing up on the outside. Have to Grace is moving with them. And here comes Blind Luck. Now they're coming to the top of the stretch. Have to Grace, Acting Happy, Devil May Care across the track with Blind Luck trying to catch him from the far outside. Top of the stretch. Acting Happy, a stubborn foe. Have to Grace is there. Blind Luck is getting on them with every stride. Down to the final 16th. Blind Luck, Have to Grace, Have to Grace. Blind Luck, Have to Grace. Blind Luck wins the Alabama in a thriller. Beating Have to Grace in a photo finish. Acting Happy was third.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Come on.
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Oops. My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Not at the track and not near a computer? No problem. Wager with Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System and you'll never get shut out again. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System is quick, simple to use, and guarantees your wagers are accurate and placed on time. For more information, visit CapitalOTB.com or call Capital OTB's customer service hotline at 800-292-BETS. Capital OTB's Touch-Tone Wagering System. Never get shut out again.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Casano. My thanks to Chad Summers once again for having joined us. And Blind Luck for Hall of Famer Jerry Hollendorfer. Joel Rosario beats Havre de Grace in the 2010 Alabama. Our next guest has a very nice 3-year-old Turf filly, Proctor's Ledge, who goes later this afternoon in the Lake Placid. And we are very pleased to welcome back to Down the Stretch Mr. Brendan Walsh. Brendan, good to see you.
And you, Mark.
You're playing injured here. What happened?
I had a little fall last week at Churchill, and I broke my collarbone, so just tied up with that for the moment.
All right, you're on the mend?
Yeah, no, it's getting better by the day. So,
all right,
you know.
Proctor's Ledge, hopefully doing slightly better than her
doing
trainer.
A little better than me, yeah.
That's the important part.
Yeah.
Tell us about her. She's very consistent. Daughter of Ghost Zapper. Won her first stakes here and last in the Lake George. What's she like?
She's very easy, Mark, to be around. You know, she's got a great mind. You know, she's just a fantastic athlete. Just cruises along there, takes everything in, and you know, she's just got so much natural talent. You know, she's just great. It's a pleasure to have her in the barn.
Well, we're about to take a look at the Lake George for our audience. Proctor's Ledge, number 8 in here. Brendan, as we take a look, talk about this effort, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, it was a big run. You know, earlier in the year, you know, her last 2-3 runs, she kind of had some trouble in running, and things just didn't go quite to plan. But on the same hand, she was running really nice races, and I think she was threatening to do this for a while. You know, everything came together. She got a fantastic ride. Everything came together for her on the day, and you know, she just ran a big race. Maybe she had to do what she did in her previous races to get to where she got the last day, but I think, you know, everything's starting to come together for her now, and I think, you know, hopefully we can move up again today.
Now, this was her 7th career race, but her first ever on Lasix. Why the Lasix at that point?
No particular reason. You know, we just decided we'd start her without Lasix, you know, from the get-go, and then you know, we just wanted to kind of get everything together and take every advantage we could, and we thought coming up here, she was sitting on such a big race, we'd put her on the Lasix as well, you know, and try and get this race done. So it was just another help, but she didn't need it from any reason or such, you know.
First time Javier Castellano, which is always
yeah,
a move up. What did Javier have to say to you after the race?
No, he liked her. He liked her a lot. I mean, she's very automatic. You know, she's a jockey's dream. You can do what you want with her, and he was very impressed with her. And I asked him if he'd like to ride her again, and he looked at me funny and said, "Absolutely, I'd like to ride her again."
Now, what you just said about a rider's dream and being able to put her in a race. Short field this afternoon, which often means conservative pace. If that's the case, can she be forwardly placed?
I think she can, Mark. You know, she won her maiden from the front end at Gulfstream. Then she came back and she came from way off the pace when she won her A. Other than she was off the pace probably a little more in her stakes after. But yeah, I mean, she's just so good-minded and so easy. I think we can just put her wherever she needs to be. I'm going to kind of just leave it up to Javier and let him ride his own race.
How did she come out of the Lake George, and how's she been training up to this afternoon's Lake Placid?
She's been doing super. She's just done 2 nice maintenance works. I worked her myself 2 works back, and she just went beautifully. And then we worked her last weekend as well, last Monday, and you know, she worked super. Just exactly, we've just been keeping her ticking over. She doesn't need anything special, just keep her ticking along, and you know, that's what she seems to like.
Now, I don't know how the turf course is going to be this afternoon. Her 2 efforts on less than firm turf courses. Now, mind you, this was over that sand-based Matt Wynn turf course at Churchill, were not her best. Are you worried, or will you be worried if it's less than firm?
I was concerned yesterday that we were going to get too much rain. You know, obviously, like you say, I think the Oaks Day it was soft that day. You know, and I don't think she was able to sustain her run as well. Maybe on that, but you know, we didn't get that much rain yesterday.
Okay.
I think it probably eased the ground a little bit, but I would say it should be, like we'd say in Europe, it should be good ground today, maybe just on the easy side of good. By 5 o'clock this evening it should be dried out pretty good, so I'm not too concerned about it, Jim.
Your other victory at the meet came with Conquest Sure Shot, who you saddled for the first time that day in his first ever race on dirt. Tell us about him.
Yeah, I mean, it worked out good. He might, you know, he wasn't showing us an awful lot in his work, and we brought him up here. I worked him on dirt only in Kentucky. I worked him on the grass up here, and he didn't work any better on the grass because his form last year was all on grass.
Yeah.
And we decided we'd put blinkers on him, and Mr. Ross, actually, it was his suggestion to put the blinkers on him and work him on dirt, and we did. We put Kendrick on him, and he worked really nice, and we kind of jammed him in there a little bit to see if we could get away with it, and we did. So, you know, it opens up a few more options for him now, and it was nice to win a race with him as well.
Got another option before the end of the meet?
Yeah, there's a starter on closing weekend, so you know, that'll be nice because we don't have to risk losing him again, and we can see where maybe he just needs a bit of confidence and learn how to win again, and who knows, maybe it'll step him right up there.
And Scuba, your marathon runner, came back to form with a nice second here in the overnight Birdstone Stakes in last. He really does want to go long, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. Yeah, that's
really long.
That's his thing, yeah, you know. But he ran great here, and I think it really helped, you know, that he ran that well, and I think it's going to set him up. You know, we were going to go to Monmouth and go down the same route as we did last year. Race at Monmouth didn't look like it was going to work for us. It was just so much speed in there, so we said we'd run here instead, and I'm glad we did now, because it got, you know, I think it got good air into him. He's gotten a little bit, you know, more laid back as he's getting a bit older. Okay. So I think this was a better setup, and we're going to go back to the Greenwood Cup at Parks on the 4th, and then hopefully back to California again if everything goes well.
Good. Well, Brendan, all congratulations on your all of your successes, and all the best later this afternoon with Proctor's Ledge in the Lake Placid. And we want to thank you so much for stopping by this morning by giving you this $100 gift card to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill. It's at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. They are open every day, beginning at 11:30 for lunch, open each evening for dinner. So take that on us and enjoy a nice lunch or dinner, and we hope you're feeling better very, very soon.
Thanks very much,
Brendan.
Thank you.
Good seeing you. Brendan Walsh, ladies and gentlemen, we are up to our final break. When we return, Mr. Chad Brown will join us. As we go to this break, the 2013 Alabama. In here, the favorite was Princess of Sylmar, and she was owned by Schenectady native Ed Stanko. So we'll take a look at the 2013 Alabama to the break. Back with Chad Brown right after these messages.
And they're off in the Alabama. Toward the inside, Montana native between horses. Carnival Court has some early speed. 50 Shades of Hay right up and on the pace. And farther back, it's Princess of Sylmar, who's running along fourth. A little eager in the early going here. And a big break back to Galloping Giraffe as they move into the clubhouse turn. So it's Carnival Court who is the leader here. Carnival Court on top. Montana native comes off the inside for a little running room there. But right next to her, 50 Shades of Hay. And looming in behind them is Princess of Sylmar on hold in the early going here. A wide margin back to Galloping Giraffe as they make their way to the backstretch run. The first quarter in 23 4/5 seconds. Carnival Court on top. 50 Shades of Hay on the outside. And Montana native. They comprise the vanguard here. Looming in behind is a would-be champion, Princess of Sylmar. The half was an ordinary 48 seconds flat. There's a huge chasm back to Galloping Giraffe. So down the backstretch they go. Still a trio of front runners here. Montana native between horses. Carnival Court toward the rail. 50 Shades of Hay on the outside. Sitting chilly in the patient hands of Javier Castellano. Princess of Sylmar yet to do any running. There's a half mile left here in the Alabama. Around the far turn they go. Carnival Court, Montana native. To their outside, 50 Shades of Hay. And there she goes. Princess of Sylmar is mounting a bid. She's forced to go toward the outside as they make their way around the far turn. Princess of Sylmar has picked them off. 1, 2, 3. Princess of Sylmar has seized command at the top of the stretch, and the field turns for home. Princess of Sylmar on top. Carnival Court giving way. 50 Shades of Hay on the outside. Princess of Sylmar turning it on here in the stretch at Saratoga, opening up by 4 lengths. 50 Shades of Hay is second as they come down to the final 16th. They're coming down to the line. Princess of Sylmar ran like a champion this afternoon and wins the Alabama decisively over 50 Shades of Hay. Carnival Court was third.
This is the OTB Television Network, a service of Capital District Off-Track Betting.
Hey race fans, head down to the all-new Clubhouse Racebook. With live horse racing on more than 250 flat-screen TVs, state-of-the-art wagering terminals, and amazing Vegas-style atmosphere. The Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
In a recent study of some of the top online wagering sites, Capital OTB won big in total player rewards, far surpassing some of the best-known wagering sites in America. While other rewards programs simply offer you points redeemable for gift cards, Capital OTB's rebates are paid to you in actual cash. Plus, Capital OTB gives you full and immediate access to your money. So if all you're getting now are points and gift cards, join Capital OTB Player Rewards today and get cash back. Visit CapitalOTBBet.com and sign up today. No matter where in the world you are, the excitement of wagering on horse racing is just a click away. Bet any place, anytime at CapitalOTBBet.com. And be sure to download our new mobile app from the iTunes Store or Google Play.
Welcome back to Down the Stretch, everyone. I'm Mark Asano. My thanks to Brendan Walsh once again for having joined us. And Princess of Selmar for Todd and Javier, owned by Linton High School graduate Ed Stanko, captured the 2013 Alabama. Our final guest is coming off a historic day in Chicago last Saturday. Today he runs New Money Honey in the Alabama in her first ever start on dirt. And we're also going to find out if cloud computing is on his way to the Travers as we welcome back to Down the Stretch, Mr. Chad Brown. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Congratulations. Even though you weren't in Chicago, that's a hell of a day. First trainer ever to win the Million and the Beverly D the same year. How's that feel?
It feels pretty good. You have to have the right horses, and there's no way I could have stayed here unless I had an incredible staff to prepare the horses and send them out there with them, and thankfully it all worked out.
Did you expect both Beach Patrol and Decida to run well?
I did, yeah. You go all the way to Chicago. We've been doing it a while now. You really don't want to have to fly those horses all the way out there unless you're feeling good about them. And the group of horses that I sent to Chicago, we felt very good about.
What's next for each of them?
Beach Patrol is a tough horse to spot from here on out because he's really a 1.25 mile horse. And these Breeders' Cup races, for him, don't seem to fit quite as well at 1 mile or 1.5 miles. With that said, with limited options, maybe we'll try a race like the Joe Hirsch at 1.5 miles and just see if he can do it.
Okay.
And then with Decida, a couple races in mind for her. The Flower Bowl, of course, a possibility.
Right.
The Canadian Stakes up in Canada, which she was narrowly beaten in last year. She knows the course well, is a possibility. And also the Rodeo Drive out in Santa Anita. So, she's come out of the race well, and she'll show up in one of those 3 races.
Last Saturday here at Saratoga, over a yielding course, time test, was an okay second in the 4-star Dave. I'm not even sure he changed leads. What'd you think of that effort?
Frustrating because we like this horse so much. Now 2 of his 3 starts for us have been on heavy ground, and he's really a firm ground horse. That's why he's come over here to America. And in both of his starts on heavy ground, he wouldn't switch leads. Did the same thing in the Fort Marcy, his first start for us. So it's a bit unlucky that this rainstorm rolled in there and soaked the ground like it did. But that's turf racing. So I want to try him again. I like to cut back to 1 mile for him, and I was looking at a race maybe at Keeneland for him. The Shadwell Turf Mile might fit.
Yeah, both turf divisions are wide open this year. When I say both turf divisions, I mean middle distance and routers. When you get to the Breeders' Cup, there's almost always plenty of pace in the Breeders' Cup mile. That should suit him.
I would say, if we catch firm turf, on the West Coast, Del Mar, and get a good pace to run at, that's really the goal. This horse trains so well, and he's very highly regarded in our barn, and I just feel like if he gets the right conditions to run on, we'll see the best of him.
All right, today, New Money Honey in the Alabama. First ever start on dirt for a filly who's won about $1.3 million on grass. Why the surface switch?
We've been thinking about it for quite a while, even back to a 2-year-old season for the Breeders' Cup. I actually cross-entered her in the dirt race as well as the turf race.
Okay.
And it was right up until the night before the turf race to decide what we're going to do because she'd always trained well on it. It was just a function of distance, really, when I got her started last summer at Saratoga. She needs all the ground she can get. But thankfully we chose the turf race and she won at the Breeders' Cup, and from there out we kept her on it. I've been waiting for the right opportunity. I like this race because there's nothing else really on the schedule that would be meaningful to her at this point. The distance of the race really appeals to me at 1.25 miles. I'm not sure every horse in this race can go that far. I know ours can.
Okay, we're about to take a look at a 1.25 mile race for New Money Honey. This is the Belmont Oaks, and for our audience, she is number 8 in here. Now, of course, you know there's a difference between 1.25 miles on firm turf and 1.25 miles on dirt, but you're confident she'll get the 10 furlongs?
I am. She's been training exceptionally well here on the main track at Saratoga. Then again, there's a big difference between breezing over it and running 1.25 miles on it, and we understand that, but I'll tell you, she's always trained well on the dirt, this horse. So I'm very curious to see what she's going to do. And I'm optimistic that she's going to be just fine on it.
That's interesting, because as we know, most horses prefer one surface or the other. Is there such a thing as having a certain stride or action where a horse can handle both surfaces?
I'm not sure it's limited to just that. It's a combination between maybe that and her breeding would suggest she's has evidence to handle both surfaces, and it's a rare thing for a horse to be able to excel at grade 1 level on both. That's why we don't try it much. I'm sure there's not much data on me doing this move.
Yeah.
It takes a special horse, and this may be a special horse. We're going to find out.
Well, in the Belmont Oaks, you ran 1, 2, 3. She beat 2 stablemates, and the advantage she had this day was she got the jump on them. She put herself into the race. Do you expect her to do that on dirt as well?
Potentially. She has that rail draw. I'd like to see her leave out of there and get some good forward position. I'll leave it up to Javier. He knows his filly so well, and he normally just plays the break and sees what's in front of him. But I wouldn't want to see her too far back, that's for sure.
The range yesterday probably tightened up the racetrack, which is, I've got to think you're pleased with that.
Yeah, I'm not looking to run around a deep, heavy track. When I have breezed her over this track and it's been tight, she has worked very well.
Will today's effort in the Alabama determine at least her immediate future, which surface you're going to go to?
I think that's fair. Obviously, we're looking at a Breeders' Cup race for her, probably on turf, but it opens up a lot of options for her, even into next year. So, fingers crossed, and I hope that she handles it okay.
Uni rallied for 3rd in the Belmont Oaks, coming up the inside. She runs today in the Lake Placid. The Belmont Oaks was her first start in this country. What'd you think of her effort?
I thought she ran very well. She sort of fell out of the gate, didn't get away well. And from there, I thought Irad gave her a really good ground-saving trip, and he navigated through traffic, and it did get up for 3rd. If she broke a little better, she might have been a lot closer there at the finish. She's trained really well since the race. I don't think she'll mind a little cut back to 1 mile and 1/8, and with not much pace in the race, I'm hoping that she breaks a little better and gets herself in a good forward spot this time around.
Many European horses need a race in the United States and need to get acclimated to the new surroundings. Do you expect her to move forward today?
I do. It depends on the horse, in my experience. This horse here trains like she has moved forward from that race. I like what I see. And if she takes that jump forward, she should be right there.
All right. Let's talk about the Queen. Earlier in the meet, Lady Eli did it in the Diana. We're about to take a look. She is number 3 in here. Chad's other runner, Antono, number 2. Chad, she only wins this by a head, but boy, did Arad Ortiz ride her with supreme confidence in here. Talk about it.
Yeah, what a relief that she got her head down first. Even going back before the start, she broke through the gate, which she's never done, and that gave us some anxious moments for sure. And then from here, I thought Irad did a really good job right there to save some ground in the first turn. And like you said, all through the stretch, he rode over with a lot of confidence, and he gets along with his filly well. He knows what he's sitting on.
The portable rail was up, so, nobody's going to convince me the internal fractions were perfectly accurate, but they're going to go 3/4 and 11 and 2. She's got one horse beat after 3/4, and she's going to have to go wide and around them. I mean, were you concerned at any point here?
Very, even though it's Lady Eli, and I know that she's going to fire her best race every time for us. This is the Diana, and with so much to do and so little time left to do it, sure, I was a little nervous.
First ever stakes win for her at Saratoga, the track where she broke her maiden. How special was it to get a stakes win with her?
Very special. This is where we first got her started, like you said, and she spent a lot of time up here. And for her to earn a Grade 1 in a race like the Diana that we hold in high regard was very special for all the connections.
Here she comes around her rivals. Graham Motion in front with Kadurin. We interviewed Graham, the next week, and he just said really, really tough beat. But here she comes on the outside with a rod, and just an incredibly special mare.
It is. She's very, very rare, this horse. She's overcome so much, like everybody knows, and she just has that will to win. And when you look at her race record, it's so impressive. Even in her 3 losses, she made the lead close to the wire and just got caught by horses she might have not seen. And she's a horse that they just don't come along very often.
How'd she come out of the Diana, and what's next?
She came out of Diana in good shape. I'm inclined to probably wait for the Flower Bowl at this point. She's training super. It's hard to keep her in the barn.
Really?
I took a little look at the Volson Spa, and I'd love to run her again, but I think the right thing to do is probably just run in Grade 1s from here on out.
Now, with the Breeders' Cup filly mare Turf at 1 1/8 this year, and the Flower Bowl at 1 1/4, you concerned about that at all, that you're going to have to turn her back for the Breeders' Cup?
Slightly, but as far as the Breeders' Cup goes, I'm more comfortable with it being 1 1/8 and 1 3/8. That would have been challenging, and at Del Mar you can't run 1 1/4. Yeah. So, but that's a good point about her final prep, is having to stretch her out and cut her back. But I'm just going to have to play the hand I'm dealt, and fortunately she's an exceptional horse that's won at both distances.
You told us last year that when she got beat on the wire in the Breeders' Cup filly mare Turf last year, that was the worst beat of your life. How much do you want a Breeders' Cup win for her?
I very badly. If it proves to be her final career race, potentially, you'd love to see her go out on top, become a dual Breeders' Cup winner. Last year was tough. Again, she looked like she was home and got caught by a horse she might have not saw. So, hopefully it's her year, and a couple more races to go, and we'll see how it works out.
Antono was a troubled third in the Diana, coming off a spectacular win in the Just the Game. What'd you think of the effort in the Diana?
I thought she ran well. She's obviously in tight quarters down there late, and maybe with a little more room, she could have been there. She's come out of it in good shape. We are looking to run her on the Boston spot.
What Javier say to you after the race?
He was frustrated he didn't have more room. He felt like if he had more room, he could have potentially won the race. We'll never know. It was definitely tight quarters, and she's a very big mare, and it just didn't work out for her that day. But hopefully she can redeem herself in the Bolson spot.
Might Antono be the biggest United States threat to Lady Eli in the Breeders' Cup?
Well, Lady Eli's going to have to beat them all in the Breeders' Cup. Potentially Antono as well as some others. I mean, those 2 horses that ran 1-2 in the Beverly D are pretty good too. So, but my philosophy's always been is we just run them against each other and just prepare them the best we can, give everyone the opportunity to compete in those big races and let them settle out on the racetrack.
All right, so Antono likely for the Boston Spa next Saturday. Let's take a look ahead to some of the other potential starters on the Travers Day card. And here's the $1 million question. Will Preakness winner Cloud Computing go to the Travers?
Well, he breezed very well this morning on the main track at Saratoga. Javier worked the horse, was very happy. Normal protocol. We'll see how he comes out of the breeze. I need to speak to the owners and see what we want to do. But the way he worked today, I'm inclined to take a strong look at it.
Are you basically drawing a line through the Jim Dandy?
I think at this point you have to. The track was very deep and demanding that day. Cloud Computing's never faltered in the stretch before that day, and he's come out of this race and trained super. I haven't seen the horse train poorly one day since the Jim Dandy, and today's work was extremely impressive. So I feel like I owe it to the horse to take a strong look at the Travers and give him the opportunity to run if he's healthy.
Okay, sounds good. Practical Joke coming off what I thought was a very solid third in the Haskell. What did you think of the effort?
He ran great. He's unfortunately he didn't get there at the wire right there with those other two horses. I thought he ran terrific. We know that he's better around one turn, but again, he showed his ability and his heart to try his best to get there at a mile and an eighth. He's doing really well. He breezed this morning, excellent, and I'm going to run him into Alan Jerkins on Traverse Day.
7 furlongs, you know, it may not be his ideal distance, but as long as there's some speed in there, he should be in pretty good shape, shouldn't he?
I hope so. Cutting him all the way back to 7/8 off a mile and eighth race is a little tricky. I hope he doesn't fall too far back, but he is undefeated around one turn. So if he gets the right pace set up in front of him, I think the horse can be right there.
Now, we know the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile is 2 turns at Del Mar, and it's, you know, give or take about a mile. Is that what you're looking?
It is. At this point, I think that makes the most sense to point towards. How many times he'll run between now and then, I'm not sure. But that is the race we're focusing on now.
Paula Silver Lining is nominated to the Ballerina. Will she run next Saturday?
Yeah, she breezed this morning really well. We had a good morning, and she seems ready to go. So consistent. She just takes care of herself, really. We stay out of her way. And she's been a terrific addition to our barn. We're excited to run the Ballerina with her.
She won, and she had to work hard to win the Honorable Miss, but that was at 3/4. Is she a little more comfortable going 7 furlongs?
I think so. 6.5, 7 seems to be a little better for her. And like I said, she's coming in the race in terrific shape.
Beautiful. You recently got Karina Mia in the barn. She won the Shine Again Overnight Stakes here. She is nominated to both the Ballerina as well as the Personal Ensign. Will she run next Saturday, and will it be in the Ballerina?
Yes, we're leaning towards entering the Ballerina. This filly seems to be a little better going one turn. Her first race with us was pretty good. I think she got a lot out of that. She's training well. So it looks like the Ballerina for her.
What have you learned about her? You haven't had her that long. What have you learned about her?
Just solid horse, really good workhorse. You know, she's an aggressive type horse that she likes to do things alone, and easy to be around, and it's in a fortunate position to have another great addition to our barn that we're very thankful to have.
Anybody else for next Saturday's stakes? Will Roca Rojo go in the Boston Spa?
Yeah, she's had a little freshening since the Just a Game. She seems to be training very well, so we'll try her in the Boston Spa. We have Money Multiplier, who's now back in full form again, having won a race at Monmouth as a prep for the Sword Dancer.
Okay.
So we're really excited about that too. He ran a terrific second last year in the race, so we should have plenty of action next week.
Yes, certainly. Now, you had a wonderful filly, paid-up subscriber who, boy, did she run well against Songbird in the Ogden Phipps. How exciting was that?
It was, and you know, she ran her heart out in that race, and then of course, you know, ran the Chuvy unbelievable here in a short field, but you know, that'll probably never happen again for me again.
Yeah.
30 length win, but you know, unfortunately it happened. She came out of the race and was injured, not seriously, but you know, something we can handle, some surgery, and she needs some time off. So unfortunately, she won't be able to take another shot at Songbird.
Realistically, is there any chance of her coming back to the races?
There's a chance if the owners elect to run her next year, which is possible. She'd be back, but she would be done for this year.
Okay. You're in a dogfight with Mr. Pletcher, as we all expected. He's 2 up heading into today. We had him on our pre-Saratoga show on July 15th, and he said, I'm the distinct underdog this year.
You know better than that.
You got enough ammunition over the last couple of weeks?
We'll see. I mean, I feel like we have plenty of nice horses to run through the end of the meet. And obviously their barn's clicking at a very high rate, and it seems like every horse he runs is running well. Same with our barn. I'm very pleased with the percentage of horses we've had that are firing their best race. So, you know, it'll end up the way it will, and we're just focused on what we're doing. And we have so many exciting races coming up to focus on that we're really more zeroed in on that.
Now, a friend of mine mentioned this to me, and I usually like to double-check things before I ask our guests, but Did you sneak up here and win a fishing contest with your brother?
The funny thing about it is we finished second.
Oh, you finished second, okay.
Got all the headlines, I guess, because I was in it. But it's I probably never got more press over something that I finished second in before. But my brother's the real fisherman. He just takes me along. I'm normally working the net.
So if he had a better partner, he might have won the whole thing.
I think so.
Okay.
He's actually won a couple when he fishes alone.
How about that? Listen, as always, thank you. We appreciate your time. We know you're busy. And we want to say thank you by giving you this $100 gift card to Jacob and Anthony's American Grill. It's at 38 High Rock Avenue, downtown Saratoga. They're open every day beginning at 11:30. So take the kids there and have a nice lunch or dinner on us. And best of luck this afternoon with New Money, Honey and Uni. All the best next Saturday on Travers Day, and we'll speak with you again very soon.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Chad Brown, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's show you really very quickly the upcoming stakes here at Saratoga, and you will see what a wonderful next Saturday we have on Travers Day. Along with the Midsummer Derby, the Personal Ensign featuring Songbird, the Forgo, you just heard Chad Summers say he's going to send Mind Your Biscuits against Dre Fong. The Alan Jerkins, where Practical Joke will be. The Ballerina, Chad will have a couple in there. The Sword Dancer, as well as the Ballston Spa. What a big day next Saturday. And because of the early post time, next Saturday, we will be on earlier. The Travers Day edition of Down the Stretch, next Saturday, August 26th, will air 1 hour earlier, beginning at 9 o'clock. All right, let's wrap things up. Time to thank all the folks who helped get this week's show on the air. Back in the control room in Albany, Pat Peretta, as usual, in the director's chair, handled all of pre-production. Dan Hayes as well. Here at our remote studios at Saratoga, our associate producer, Julie Hoxie, and her assistants, Delia Wagner and Mary Ellen Casano. Thanks so much to Brian Dorenzo and Mick Richards as well. Thanks to our guests, Chad Brown, Chad Summers, and Brendan Walsh, and thanks to our sponsors, Pinnell's Restaurant, celebrating 95 years in business, 284 Jefferson Street in Saratoga, and Jacob and Anthony's American Grill at 38 High Rock Avenue in downtown Saratoga. As always, thank you so much for having joined us this morning on Down the Stretch. Enjoy Alabama Day here at Saratoga. Have a wonderful weekend and a terrific upcoming week. And from all of us here at Down the Stretch, we'll see you next week at 9 o'clock.
You're watching OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.